Bill Maher hosted Douglas Murray, Democrat Senator from Minnesota Tina Smith, and some other guy that Maher ended up having to shut down after his ridiculous take on RFK Jr. in his pursuit to find the cause of autism. This leads off with Maher asking Douglas Murray to comment on the UK Supreme Court ruling this week that the definition of a woman is biological sex. Murray's answer is both effective and hilarious, but this then turns when Tina Smith lies about the Democrat position on this issue, and Maher has none of it. Check this out. I'm Zach Costello.
Yeah, this was a big ruling this week in England. The Supreme Court, their definition of woman is biological sex. To put it in shorthand, J.K. Rowling won.
Yes. J.K. Rowling won. Everyone who said this for years has won. All the, particularly women who've been defamed and lied about and bullied and chased and much more for years, they were right. And I just think, apart from being a statement of the obvious, isn't it amazing that the best legal minds in Britain spent years having to work out the first thing we knew as a species?
But just to be clear, we're not saying there's not such a thing as trans, right? We're not saying there's not such a thing as someone who is, quote unquote, born in the wrong body.
I don't think people get born in the wrong body now.
Oh, I do.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a default setting for humans.
Yeah.
Like, we should acknowledge that. It's not just every time there's a baby, ooh, who knows what the fuck it is. That's crazy. But there are...
Beyond me, yeah.
But there are variations.
There are variations.
Homosexuality.
That's right. It's a continuum.
And then, you know, but it's how we handle that.
That's
you know?
right.
I mean, and I think we would agree that, you know, children, and this is where America is now an outlier country. We're the only country that went full, and I guess Trump is reversing it, but certainly under Biden, who went fully toward that. Like, we don't care what age, kids can self-diagnose themselves. I mean, that to me was going way too far on this. Again, nobody just comes back to the sensible center.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the sensible center is that, like, you respect people, you trust parents, you let parents figure out what to do with their kids, and you don't need a bunch of politicians in Washington making decisions about
That is not the Democratic position, at least here in California.
Well, that's my position.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's where the Democratic Party should. That is not the position that we've had here in California, which is like, don't tell the parents what the kids are doing at school. That's a whole, and that you really alienate voters.
No. Not only is the Democrat position on this that to not tell parents, it's to criminalize parents for not adhering to this ideology. It's to arrest them for abuse for not going along with it. The Democrat position on this issue is to peel kids away from their parents and destroy families. Spare me, Democrat Tina Smith, with your reasonable position on this issue, because that is not how this goes. We also need to clarify language here. As conservatives, we acknowledge that people think that they are in the wrong bodies. We don't doubt that gender dysphoria exists. We just believe it is more loving to help that person through the distortion that they have come to believe about themselves. Keeping one aligned with reality is truly love. Allowing or encouraging a person in delusion is harmful and, in my opinion, evil. Okay. Now, here is Maher bringing up the pushback that RFK Jr. is getting right now about the cause of autism. He ends up destroying the leftist narrative here. Check this out.
He did speak on what I read in the paper is he did speak on it this week. And I did not agree with the point of view of the article I was reading, which was that he's completely crazy because he was saying it's not mostly genetic, it's mostly environmental toxins. I happen to believe that's probably a more likely answer. And they were saying, well, no, genetics, and of course genetics is involved in everything health-wise. But to present the argument I saw framed in that way, that he's a kook because he thinks it's coming. I mean, environmental toxins is really the story of my lifetime. I'm glad I was born as old as I am at a time when everything wasn't completely polluted. I think that's why I'm still alive today. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I mean,
but Bill, the air is less polluted, the water is less polluted. As countries get richer, they pollute less. When they're industrializing, they pollute more. There might be individual environmental toxins, yes, but as a broad description of the status of OECD countries, we are polluting on net less.
It depends on where you live, first of all.
Yeah.
That's right.
Out here in California, I believe I'm breathing in the fire still. The fire burned a lot of this city, and a lot of this city had plastic in their home. And we were already getting, they say, a credit card's worth of plastic in our body on a weekly basis. So I don't know what you're talking about, like it's better than it used to be.
I'm talking about I can see the mountains from Long Beach, which I couldn't growing up. I mean, we pass rules, we do cleaner tech over time, and all rich countries do this. It is a process. It's a whole theory of the case called the Kuznets curve. It's a thing. It's worth reflecting on and respecting too.
Okay. Well, you may be sanguine about that. Maybe that's a libertarian in you. But this is what I worry about more than anything, is the plastic in my head. Because someday it's just going to...
So this guy read in a book somewhere that pollution numbers are lower in developed countries. Hey buddy, how about the chemicals, plastics, and poisons in our food supply? What about the loading up of our bodies with alcohol, drugs, and other pharmaceuticals? How is it that we know if someone is suffering from a physical and mental ailment that an elimination diet, getting rid of all of this stuff, has profound effects? This seriously might be one of the dumbest and most brainwashed takes of all time, and it's these types of people and perspectives that fight against people like RFK Jr. trying to actually find these causes and save lives. Congratulations. We are all dumber for having heard you spoke. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. I'm Zach Costello.